Battle cruiser operational.
Hey there, fellow StarCraft fans. Today we have a great opportunity to talk to Christie Goldent, author of many StarCraft novels and the latest StarCraft Flashpoint novel that very soon will be released in Russian language. Flashpoint starts immediately after Wings of Liberty and continues story of Jim Raynor and Sarah Kerrigan. Christie, it's been 3 months since Flashpoint has been released, and the most concerned Russian fans had read the book in English. Yet for those who didn't have this opportunity, could you tell us what Flashpoint is about?
Absolutely. Flashpoint is kind of two novels in one. We wanted to have a novel that really almost seamlessly bridges the gap from Wings of Liberty to Heart of the Swarm. Flashpoint picks up literally right after the closing cinematic, and part of that's depicted in the book, and it starts with the opening cinematic of Heart of the Swarm. And I'm assuming you all have seen that, and it is really, really something. It's a great opener. So this covers all of the events that takes place between those 2 points. Also during the book, we have flashbacks to the 10 days that Jim and Sarah spent together and had a very intense relationship. They fell in love in a very, very brief period of time. And of course, that they were wrested away from one another. And so these are pivotal moments. And it was really nice to be able to share with the readers some of the things that happened to show why they fell in love, what motivated them to open up to each other, and the intensity of the connection. So we have two things going on. We have filling in the gaps with their relationship in the very early days, and we have a lot of action depicting what's gone on before that opening cinematic of Heart of the Swarm.
I see. As you mentioned, one of the main characters in this book is Sarah Kerrigan, sort of human woman who had been controlled by various factions for many years. We haven't seen much of real Sarah in game or in other StarCraft books, so was the starting point in writing her character?
It was really, really great to actually have the luxury to delve very deep into her, and the format of the book with the flashbacks gave me the opportunity to go back to some pivotal moments in her life. We wanted to deal with this sort of a third incarnation of Sarah. We've seen Sarah Kerrigan, the Ghost. We've seen the Queen of Blades, and now we have this third entity that is neither of those. She's not who she was. Jim had wanted to get her changed back, and that's not possible at this point for her, at least emotionally, after all that she's gone through. She can't ever return to that. And that's something that everybody faces, is that you are part of what your past has made you. You can't ever just go back. But with her, it's also literal, because she still has some genetic material in her body that is Zerg. And so we have this third person now who is this combination of all of her experiences, and she's trying to make sense of that. And one of the ways, she starts off with her memories very spotty. So she remembers some things very vividly, and there are other things that she just doesn't remember at all. And so as she's starting to kind of put the pieces together of who she is, we're marching down this path toward the climax of the book and opening into the Heart of the Swarm, which will kind of pick up the ball from there, and I am assuming run with it like crazy. So we'll get to see some extremely pivotal moments from her childhood, and obviously from her time with Jim, and we're going to see a very gentle and innocent side of Sarah in some of these flashbacks, which I know for a fact because they have not been in any of the books or any of the game dialogue that we have not seen. So that was very exciting to me.
How do you think, after everything Kerrigan had committed and endured with such burden, is there at least teeny chance for her to have normal human life, maybe with Jim, maybe just to rest in peace finally in the future?
Wow. One of the things that I love to write about, and this is going to sound very cliched, but it's true, is the triumph of the human spirit. People are amazing to me. You see these people who have soared to beautiful heights with open hearts and kind souls from some of the most, atrocious abuse in their lives, and they have been able to take that and turn what they're suffering into something better for somebody else. Um, Kerrigan has been through an extreme of that we have, that again, it's humanity taken a step further. It's human nature, but it's also, because this is science fiction and fantasy, she's got the extra element in there. So I think that if it weren't at least possible, we wouldn't have had this book. I don't think we would have had some of the moments with Sarah. I don't think we would have had the tenderness and her trust in Jim being established. So I don't know. I do not know the contents of Heart of the Swarm. I don't know where they're going to take things. So I can't tell you for certainty, yes, she's going to be redeemed, but I do think that there is a shred of hope, because otherwise this book would not have been written.
Since you've mentioned it, we were really interested. Have you played Heart of the Swarm already?
I, I have not. I don't even know most of the major plot twists. That's kind of on a need to know basis, and they let me know what I need to know.
So it's a top secret even for you.
It's pretty secret. I know a few things that are going to happen, but I certainly don't know how they're going to happen, and my knowledge is several months old, so.
Okay, we'll see Kerrigan in Heart of the Swarm and plenty of her. So now we'll move on to the second main character of the book. It's Jim Raynor. In Wings of Liberty, Jim Raynor says that he doesn't have much to do in life, but he has to bring Manx to justice. Now, with Queen of Blades being gone and Sarah being human again, does he have a new point in life, something to look forward to vengeance aside?
I think he absolutely does. I think that this was a game changer for him emotionally. He's extremely suspicious of Valerian, because he's not sure if, this is Manx's son. And yeah, people are different, but just how different, you know? And so, and he won't risk Sarah. He won't risk Sarah. And this is I think, a more positive, and life affirming, um, uh, mission for him. And, he's hoping to have a future with her. He's hoping to be able to put the gun down and to have a future with Sarah. I think he knows in his heart he's still going to have to keep his hand on that gun, because as long as Manx is out there, that future is not going to be happen, or it's going to be in jeopardy. And so I think he may be torn. It's very easy when you have nothing to lose and nothing you value and nothing that, touches you, to focus on a vengeance and on killing. And I think it's harder to do that when something else might be at stake or put at risk through that choice. So I think for him, these drives dovetail, because protecting Sarah and trying to have a life with her kind of does hinge on getting Mengs out of the picture, but it's colored differently, I think.
Okay. Back in the time before the First Great War, Jim Raynor had a son, John. He was mentioned in the book as well. His son died in Ghost Academy, or rather, that's what Jim was told about. Is it possible, there's a possibility that Raynor was deceived and his son is in fact alive and we might be able to see him in future?
Without a body, nothing is certain. I don't know of any plans to go that way, and I had not thought of that, and that definitely would be very interesting now, wouldn't it? So yeah, I think one of the things that you do when you create, at least I do when I create a universe that I hope to write many stories in, is to make sure about everything that is an absolute. If a character dies, I need to make absolutely sure that I'm not going to be able to use him again, or want to revisit him. So it's kind of nice to have things happen off screen, so that leaves that option open. And unless there's a body on the screen, and maybe not even then, I don't think we'll know.
Uh-huh. Okay, then let's move to another interesting character, Valerian Mengsk. In Flashpoint, we see him a lot, and during the course of the story, Valerian openly goes against his father and goes rogue in his eyes. Did Valerian plan for such outcome, or he was relying on his diplomatic abilities, or maybe high rank?
I don't think that. I think that was the last option. I think Valerian, he's very smart, and he had to know that it might come down to this. And I don't think it completely took him by surprise. That had to have been something that was in his mind. I don't think it was his preferred option. In the book, we see him many times pleading with his father to not do this, asking to join with him and to move forward together to help protect the galaxy by protecting Kerrigan, who is the object of a prophecy. And he would have preferred to do it that way, but I don't think that his father gave him much of a choice, and he was forced to make a very difficult decision. And he has to know that that decision cost lives. That decision cost thousands of lives. And Valerian doesn't like that. He doesn't like to, lose his people. He cares about them. And he's not completely a guy in a white hat. But there's a lot of good to him, and there's a lot of basic decency to him. It won't stop him doing what he thinks is right and important. But I don't think that was the desired outcome. That wasn't the plan. He wanted to be better than his father. He didn't necessarily want to destroy his father.
Yes, it was made obvious that Valerian wants to be better than his father. The question is, what does it mean for him, overthrowing his father or being a better man than Senior Mengsk?
You're asking great questions. I think for him, and I think I can answer this pretty securely because I know the character very well. I basically designed his personality. So I think he just wants things to be better. I think he is moved by what he finds on Dead Man's Rock. I think he thinks it's wrong for a government to sit by and do the things that have been done. Um, and I think he would like to have a place where people have a decent chance of living and that they can feel safe, and that there's a galaxy for them to be that in, with all that's looming down over them. So the crisis is coming. And in order for them to be safe, he's got to make sure that the galaxy is safe first. But I think he's basically a decent guy who does not enjoy suffering and is not can't really turn a blind eye to it when it's forced in front of him.
Well, Arcturus Mengsk didn't start as bloodthirsty tyrant as well. He used to be a guy who wanted better things too. So if Valerian is put in position when he has to choose between overthrowing his father and using some sort of, committing some sort of atrocity for this, or stepping aside and being a better man, what he will choose?
I think he's an ends justifies the means person. Um, I think that he has a goal, and there's a way he would prefer to achieve that goal. But I think if he is left with no other choice, I think he probably would choose to do things. I don't. He's a gray character, and that's one of the really lovely things about him. Um, and he is not somebody who will go to the grave with his morals intact. He will go to the grave one day, as we all will, uh, with the goal in mind and doing whatever was necessary to achieve that goal. And he may regret it and he may bear the scars of his choices, but I don't think that would stop him.
So if he has to destroy some planet using the Zerg, for example, Scimeter, he will do this.
I think he might. I think he would.
I
If in his mind there was no other alternative and it would serve the greater good, yeah, I think so.
I see. Did Arturus Manx expect his son to openly go against him?
I don't think so. I think Manx has a very large ego, and I think he thinks he has better control over everything than he actually does. I think that he thought he had Sarah and Jim better controlled than it turned out that he did. And I think he really didn't see Valerian as a true threat. He grew to respect his son and admire his son, but I think in the back of his mind, he remembers that the little boy that he called a bookish, effeminate weakling. And I think that he does underestimate Valerian, and I don't think he really believed that this was going to happen.
How do you think? Was it hard for Mengsk to choose his enemy's death, Sarah's death, over his son's life?
I don't know that Arcturus Mengsk really cares about anyone. And I think he probably, from a practical standpoint, it would have been better if his son was with him. Because then he wouldn't have to spend the time and the energy and waste the resources in subduing him. And it's probably more of a nuisance to him than it is a personal wound. I don't see him turning off the screen and putting his face in his hands and grieving the necessity of killing his son. I don't think he's got it in him. Maybe he did once, but I don't know that he's got it in him anymore.
All right. Moving further, I guess. In the Flashpoint, we learned that Jacob Ramsey from the Dark Templar saga sort of took part in freeing Kerrigan. What happened to him and R.M. Dahl after the saga? Will we see him in nearby future?
You know, I really don't know what they want to do with Jake. I'd love to see him show up again because he is kind of the Protoss guy. So I don't know. I'm hoping we'll see him in Heart of the Swarm, and we'll just have to wait and see. So right now, I really couldn't tell you.
Any other characters that we might see in Heart of the Swarm? You know? Do you know?
I don't really know. I haven't been informed. I'm sure we're going to see all of our friends. We'll see obviously Jim and Sarah and Matt. I'm personally hoping for another appearance by Mira Han because she's just a lot of fun. And so no, I'm not sure who we're going to see, and I'm kind of glad because I'm looking forward to being surprised and intrigued along with everybody else.
I'll be honest, we are hoping to see Stukov. Alright, in Wings of Liberty we met Zeratul, who warned Raynor about Kerrigan's role in the universe. How do you think, what will be Prelude's reaction on her turning into human again?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I couldn't quite catch it all.
How do you think, what will be Zeratul's reaction on Kerrigan turning into human again?
Ooh, you know, he warned Jim to keep Sarah alive because she was part of this prophecy. And I think he would believe that her becoming at least partially human again must also be part of that. Because if there is a prophecy and Jim was part of it, he brought Jim in, I think that he probably would know Jim loves her and would want to see her human again. And so I think he might worry that something might have gone wrong, but I think he would have faith that that everything is unfolding the way it is supposed to because he did bring Jim in, and Jim is clearly part of this. So whatever Jim has done, it must also be part of the prophecy.
And other Protoss like Artanis or Silentis?
Yeah, you know, this could be very, very interesting. This could be very interesting because we don't know who knows what about the prophecy. We do know that Valerian has uncovered it. But I could imagine that a lot of people would be thinking, how can she fight the Zerg if she's just an ordinary human? And might not be as content with the prophecy as Zeratul is. And so it would be interesting. Maybe we would have a bit of a civil war and uprising about this. So I guess we'll just have to wait for the third StarCraft game to see how that's going to unfold.
Okay. We were also interested. You have written by now 5 StarCraft related stories that are mostly go around Protoss and Terrans. Any plans for Zerg related novels?
No plans at this moment. The Zerg are kind of hard because basically, other than Kerrigan, they're kind of a mindless hive construct. They're all small parts of a greater whole, and that's kind of hard to give motivation or conflict or angst or anything like that to. It's very hard to think of them as characters when they're really not autonomous. So for me, the Zerg weave in and out Zerg as opposed to Kerrigan and as opposed to the Queen of Blades, because Kerrigan, Queen of Blades, definitely has a personality, definitely has motivations and emotions, so she's great to work with. But the Zerg themselves are kind of more like her minions to me. As a writer, when it comes to conflict and struggle, things like that, we can't really get into the mind of a Zerg. I couldn't really have a point of view of the Zerg, and so that to me would make it difficult to be focused on a Zerg novel. Now, a novel in which the Zerg are the pivotal antagonists and whoever is controlling them, or if for some reason they were able to become autonomous, that would be something different. But I really think of the Zerg kind of like as tools, and it would be kind of like somebody who has a pack of trained attack dogs and making the story about the dogs, because they're really just kind of used as weapons, from a storytelling standpoint for me personally.
I see. And any plans for future StarCraft novels at all? Not just Zerg?
Nothing yet, but I do have a third contract, a third book in my contract, and I certainly hope that I will have future contracts. And I love writing StarCraft. I really, really do. And there's just a lot of fun and can be very refreshing for me from the usual work that I do. So I certainly hope there will be more.
Well, we hope for that too. It was really nice talking to you. Thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, that's it. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks again.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.